Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Slow Blink Anime Podcast. This is Phil.
And this is Candace.
And today we're going to be talking about the newest episode of My Hero Academia. It's episode 77. It's called Bright Future. And it was the one that wrapped up this arc with Overhaul and Eri, and it was a pretty sad one this time. Yeah, this was
It's beyond sad. It's heartbreaking to the core.
Yeah, this one really got us.
It's like the previous episode, it's like they're preparing our emotions for this one episode.
Yeah, because last episode was just completely filled with like amazing moments and a super cool fight at the end. Mm-hmm. And then we knew a lot of people had gotten hurt during this whole mission that they were trying to do. But I didn't know that one of the injuries was that bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so like a quick summary of this episode. So we get a little bit more of the Deku and Overhaul fight and how that ends, and it's kind of the aftermath of the whole invasion of the Hasakai household, and seeing whatever happened to all the heroes that were part of it, everyone who got injured, and kind of how they wrapped up this whole arc. So, you want to start off?
Yeah. Are you ready to talk about this?
Yeah, we can talk about it. Let's go.
Are your emotions ready to talk about this? Okay. So, starts off as, so like what we said, finding everybody where they were at. Mm-hmm. All the police are also arresting, or they're putting the bad people.
Mm-hmm. All the Hasakai people.
Yeah, Hasakai people that cuffed up, and and they even found the Yakuza leader. The
Chisaki. Right? Or the old man.
The old man.
Yeah, the old man, yeah.
Sorry.
The grandfather.
What's his name? All this time I've been wondering. Okay. Well, they even found him, and then so I think they got everybody. And then they also saved everybody.
They were doing a rescue, and then they were arresting all the bad people that were involved. They even got some of the... No, they didn't get him. It was just the clone was in it. They killed that clone. But yeah, they got everybody, and then we found out that Tamaki saved Aizawa because he was about to get killed by one of the people too. Uh-huh. And he saved him, and that was like a close moment because he was about to stab Aizawa. But then we get that whole thing with Rikyu and Deku where she thanks him for this whole operation, for helping out. Mm-hmm. And then we're seeing people get pulled into the ambulance, and one of the people is Night Eye, and that's when we get this kind of
like a little
interaction.
Yeah, and then we kind of get a little insight on how bad he's doing. Mm-hmm. And then they had a little conversation. Deku was obviously he's heartbroken seeing Night Eye like that. Mm-hmm. And Night Eye trying to speak, and he's just getting weak. Yeah. But he's trying to get all of his emotions out to Deku, I guess. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so
he was able to tell him that Deku was able to change. She's like, this wasn't the future that I saw. Yeah. And he told him he twisted the future.
Yeah, and he's the reason that now he believes, that they can have a brighter future, mm-hmm. and maybe things can change. Other than the stuff that he saw in the past.
Mm-hmm. It was giving him hope, like we mentioned before mm-hmm. in the past episodes. But it was just a touching moment to see someone that was so cold to him at the beginning kind of open up and
praising him. Yeah.
And then what also I liked about that moment, that I don't know if you noticed, but the music in the background was "You Say Run." You know the song? Mm-hmm. It was just playing like the slow version of the song, and it was just really sweet. Yeah.
I didn't notice that. I just know it's a sad song mm-hmm. coming up, and it's making me even sadder. Uh-huh. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's like, oh man, that's heartbroken. Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah, because I heard an explanation. That song, "You Say Run," it's whenever it builds up, and then whenever you hear that, that's when it's the composer said that's when the hero arrives to save the day, and that was the part when Deku was talking to Night Eye, and it could be either way. Like Night Eye was a hero and Deku was a hero in that moment. But it was a really sweet moment between those two, and I was really happy to see that they kind of overcame their differences and they have respect for each other now.
Yeah. Well, we'll see more of that further in this episode. But
yeah. Oh, and we forgot to say the Deku was almost killed by Eri right at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. How can we forget that? I don't know. I didn't write much notes on the first part. I don't know why. But
yeah, the second half of the episode is really what...
Like, kind of like the focus of everything. Yeah. But, so that part when... Eri's quirk was still working on Deku.
Crazy, yeah.
And Deku can't do anything about it. I'm not sure what Deku or how Deku's trying to hold it all. I don't know. I don't know if he's just powering up himself constantly.
Yeah, he was just maintaining that 100%.
Yeah, to kind of balance out Eri's, powers.
Because I think if it would have been anybody else, they would have. Probably
just
not survived that.
Yeah, they would have just... they couldn't handle it.
Thank God Aizawa was there.
And he was able to stop Eri's quirk, and then Eri passes out, and we see Deku, he looks perfectly fine. Except for the arm thing.
Yeah, except for the arm.
But he looked fine. And so there's that, I think, one of the important stuff with the first part. Yeah,
and then the next thing was like one of the most crazy scenes that we've seen where the League of Villains stopped Chisaki's ambulance that was taking him to the hospital. This whole scene was freaking crazy because it was Himiko that gave him the information, like the route that the ambulance was going to be taking. So Shigaraki and his people were like ready for these
following them. And they're basically targeting Overhaul. For the drug. And I guess they want to torture Overhaul.
He wanted to get his revenge. For sure.
But it's kind of dirty. Well, I mean, they do dirty work all the time, but it's kind of like the lowest of the low they've ever done. Just because it's like they waited for him to be like the weakest, and then they did that to him. It wasn't like, I don't know, it doesn't make them look powerful, for me anyway. It doesn't make them look any powerful by doing that. It looks like there's some...
It just exemplifies how bad they were. Like bad people that they are. Especially,
it's like they'll do anything to get to their goal, anything. It doesn't matter how.
Yeah, Chisaki was defeated, he was weak, he used up all his power, and he was handcuffed when they got him out. Because they did that whole scene with the sand hero, and they were able to overpower him pretty easily. And then Chisaki's just there on the road, and Shigaraki just goes up to him and says, "I hate you." Like this whole scene he does is like so gangster, the whole thing, because he has Mr. Compress take one of his arms, Overhaul's arms, and the other one...
Was it his arm? I was confused.
Well, his hand
I was confused if it was his hand or if it was his leg.
It was his arm.
But I was
his other arm, or his hand.
I just wanted to...
either way.
Going, I guess, but I don't know. He took one of his limbs.
Yeah, it was his arm, his left arm.
Because it must be the other...
and then the right hand is the one that Shigaraki touched with his quirk.
Oh.
To make it decay.
I thought that was the foot.
No.
Okay, well...
Yeah, that's why he was like...
I was confused. I put question mark here because I wasn't sure. But I put question mark on my notes. But anyway, so it was left and right arm. That's crazy.
Yeah, so he's like, this is what you wanted, right? To be quirkless? Like, now you're like useless and everything you worked for was for nothing. And then he just laughs at him. And then you can see the dismay in Overhaul's voice and just his heart just falling apart right in front of him because he couldn't do anything. He was tied up and he didn't have any of his powers.
Yeah.
And then Shigaraki's just there laughing at him. So that was one of the craziest moments, especially in this episode, that really stood out and kind of showed you how bad these guys really are.
Yeah, they don't care.
But I love that moment. It was so gangster.
But
it was so crazy.
It is a good comparison of like how bad they are, and then overhaul still having the heart or something, because we had a little fast flashback.
Mm-hmm.
He was laying down there on his weakest point of his life, and then he had a little flashback of him remembering the grandpa.
Yeah.
And the grandpa holding or touching his head.
Yeah, saying how he was telling him, thank you for, like, even though what you did was wrong, thank you for defending our honor.
Yeah. And so...
And I think that was kind of the whole driving force of what he was doing. Everything.
For the grandpa.
Yeah. It was everything was for him and to show his appreciation.
Yeah.
And then Shigaraki here just laughing at him and taking everything away from him.
Yeah.
Which is just one of the most insane things he could have done. But yeah, you're right. It did make him look really weak. And just, it was a smart thing to do, but it's just, you knew he couldn't beat him one-on-one.
Yeah.
Or like their group against the other group.
And so he just had to do what he can.
He just waited.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And can we just mention that Mr. Compress turned or put the sand hero into the marble?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, like, what can he do?
Yeah,
he's the only hero. I would expect that there would be more heroes to kind of surround.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that no one else was like, there's no more security.
Yeah, except for the the normal regular cops or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, what can they do?
Yeah, nothing. It was just driving.
Exactly.
He was just the driver.
Yeah. But anyway, so there's that, and then what's next?
That was the whole first half of the episode, and the next part's just at the hospital only.
Okay.
And this is where we get this really heartbreaking moment. But we find out Deku's getting examined, and he's fine except for his arm. And Aizawa comes in and explains that everyone else is doing okay. And
so off they went to see everybody.
Yeah.
Well, actually, not everybody, to see...
Night Eye, they were on there.
Night Eye, yeah.
But Kirishima was fine, Fat Gum was fine, Tamaki was fine.
Rocklock was fine.
Rocklock was fine, his family came to see him too. But
that cute little kid looks exactly like
just
him.
like him.
It's like I didn't get any genes from the mom at all. It's funny. Okay, anyway. I just thought it was adorable.
Yeah. But then we get the kind of the okay feeling, and then we show up, and then there's Night Eye and the Recovery Girl and Bubble Girls all in the room, and they're right outside of Night Eye's room. Mm-hmm. And this is when we learn how serious the condition that he's in. And it's just like the way they present it to you, like all these important people are here, and All Might for sure,
the most important person.
All Might, who hasn't seen Night Eye in years since that argument they had so long ago.
And it's like this is their first and last seeing each other. Oh my goodness, it's so sad. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so Deku and
All Might go in.
So they all go in there, and then at first All Might talking to Night Eye, and then he's saying that he's telling Night Eye to let him do his duties to make up for him, like so that way Night Eye can forgive him.
Yeah.
And so that's like his way of trying to tell him to live. Like, I need you to live right now. Like, I don't want you to be like this. And Deku comes in.
Yeah.
And then even more dramatic.
Yeah, and then Night Eye didn't even acknowledge him.
It's kind of...
Yeah. But then Night Eye was just talking to All Might how he said he was never mad at him. Like, he didn't have any anger towards him. And it was just... You could see the admiration in his eyes and how much he cared for All Might and everybody in the room for that part. But it was really heartbreaking to see him have that conversation with All Might, especially them not having seen each other in so long. And this is, like you said, the first and last time they're going to see each other. And because they had said he wouldn't live till tomorrow. He wouldn't live till the next day.
Yeah. And so they were talking. There's a lot of crying, and of course, I mean, can I just say that I rarely cry. Typical people would cry in typical sad moments, and then I would just be there like, oh, that's sad. And then I wouldn't even shed a tear. And then this one, a tear came out of my eyes. It rolled down my cheeks. My eyes are watered up. I couldn't help it. It was just one of those things that are a little bit too much to hold in. And
then especially when he was talking about how the future was changed and how everyone's collective like energy is what he was saying is what was able to change the future. And he was happy when he was telling it because Night Eye was there, and I think he wanted him to hear that,
to be proud of the students,
be proud, and then you could see all the work they did, and all the people involved were able to change the future. And then I think he was kind of telling All Might at the same time that my futures that I predict isn't set in stone, that it can be changed.
But they have to do something about it, you know.
So that's why he doesn't want All Might to give up. I think that was him kind of telling him in a way. And then it just gets worse because Mirio comes in all injured, and he's got his cast on, and he's in his hospital gown, and he's just already in tears.
The nurse was stopping him, but nobody can stop him at that point. He just wanted to see Night Eye, and he knew in his heart that he had to see Night Eye right there, because if not, then he might just not be able to see him anymore and talk to him. And so our Mirio comes in there, and then Mirio was just basically saying, I need you to live, like, because of you, like, I wouldn't be here because of you, I wouldn't become who I am if it wasn't for you. So basically just giving all the honor to Night Eye. And then you can see how proud Night Eye is. Like, he's just so proud of Mirio. He did admit that at first he's just using Mirio to be, his words were to become the vessel of the
One for
All. But I guess Mirio had proved himself, things turned out where, Mirio,
like, they ended up bonding.
Yeah, I guess.
And it was a real student-teacher relationship with them. And how there was all that respect between the two, and how I'm sure they really cared about each other. And it was probably funny because Night Eye didn't have any intention of that happening, but you've got this great student, this great hero that's able to change his mind and make someone that's so cold
just love him,
and just care about him.
And then so Night Eye used his quirk on Mirio. I think that's the last time he used his quirk. And so what he saw, we didn't really see it. Like, it was just kind of this panel of like bright vision on each, little panels on the film. But obviously they're not going to show us that. But Night Eye said that Mirio will be one of the best heroes ever. He's going to grow into this beautiful, strong hero.
He said what he said.
And then that's the only feature that he doesn't want to change. And that's the feature that needs to stay the same. But anyway, and then...
That's terrible. And you can see how proud he was too, saying that.
And then...
And he told him, you'll be fine.
Oh, yeah. And so then the panel focuses on Night Eye smiling.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite lines that he said, and it was the last thing he said. Because after he told Mirio, you'll be fine, and that you'll be one of the...
Just the greatest
the finest heroes. He said, so smile. And I wrote down what he said. He said, a society without cheer and humor will not have a bright future. And then that's when...
Are you okay? Oh my goodness. I know you've been holding it all this time.
Jesus, okay.
Thank God we're not on camera, right?
And then you just smiled.
Oh.
And it was...
It's okay.
the guy that's always frowning and has got the serious face is smiling. And it was just like...
It was just the most genuine smile ever. Yeah. Like, he was just ready to rest. Mm-hmm. But it was like, I guess in a way he lived his life. Yeah. And it was all worth it.
Yeah, and it's like he was relieved and that he was reassured that the future wasn't set in stone.
And it'll be okay.
Everything's going to be okay.
Oh.
Yeah. He's smiling like All Might smiles. And that's how it ended.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
You need some tissue?
Fine.
It's just some tissue.
Jesus Christ. Oh, it was such a beautiful episode. That's how it ended, that one.
So for the story to keep going, I always say this, but anyway, in any big arc, for the story to progress, one of the most important things that they need to do is to kill a very important character.
Yeah.
This applies to like almost all animes, serious animes anyway. And so at this time in this anime they picked Night Eye to be the one to kill for the story to progress. I feel like this will help them
grow.
Yeah, grow and have that drive to do the best they can and to get the future that they want. Mm-hmm. Because Night Eye, like before, he's saying that, there's no changing to future. And then this time it gives them a whole nother perspective and reason to change everything. Mm-hmm. And so it was just a really good arc. Very well thought from beginning to end. It's just sad that we had to lose Night Eye.
Yeah.
But I think they'll be all okay, and then we'll see more of them growing into this strong heroes. Mm. So it seems like the next part or the next arc is going to be the League of Villains turn.
Yeah, they're planning something, I guess. But it's probably like a transition episode we're going to get next and kind of setting up everything that's going to happen in this arc. But I saw in the preview that Mirio is going to talk to Deku, and I'm really interested to see what they talk about and how they're probably going to bring up the quirk thing, how Mirio doesn't have his quirk right now.
Oh, talking about quirks, Eri has this fever that's going on with her right now.
Yep.
And then also, I think we talked about on our previous podcast episode that Eri could be used as to heal. Mainly All Might.
Yeah.
And then Mirio as well.
Yeah.
But
they're gonna have to train her first.
They're gonna have to train her first, and then she has to be quarantined because we don't know what she can do.
And I was thinking about it, how Aizawa said she couldn't use it like on inanimate objects. It has to be a person. Yeah. So it feels like Deku is gonna be the only one that's gonna allow her to practice her quirk. And then I was thinking too that she can help Deku practice his quirk and use the 100%.
Yeah, and then but All Might has to. I'm sorry, not All Might. Aizawa has to be there though.
Yeah, they have to. It's gonna have to be those three
because he's the only one.
In case it gets out of hand.
He's the only one currently that can stop her quirk from continue to regressing their bodies. But yeah. So we'll see in the future how Eri's going to be incorporated with them, with a new group of people that she's going to be with. This is like
really interested.
Yeah, this is like a whole new environment for her because all her life she's lived in this.
Just locked up, or being tortured.
Yeah, and so now she's gonna have all this warmth and nice people treating her good. So that'll be good. That'll be good to see.
Yeah, I'm really excited for next week and this next arc that's coming up. All right, but let us know what y'all thought How'd y'all feel about Night Eye leaving us? And any other tear jerkers out there? Anybody else who cried? Not just us.
Phil.
Jeez, that was it was such a good episode, and this is the reason that I really enjoy watching anime and just the story and how it makes you care about the characters and makes you feel really involved. This is really good storytelling.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for listening. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify too. And it's all going to be in the link down below. So, Candace, you have anything else?
Nope. I think that's all I have to say. So I'll let my heart rest tonight. All right. Thank you for listening to us.